She stole my Christmas joy, so I exposed the house built on lies. They say Christmas brings out the best in people. But on my street in Maplewood, New Jersey, it exposed the worst. Betrayal doesn't always come from lovers or friends. Sometimes it lives next door, smiling, waving, watching, waiting. My name is Elena Carter, and this is the story of how my neighbor stole my Christmas decorations, and how I decorated her truth for the whole world to see. Before I continue, please subscribe to my channel to see more interesting stories. Thank you. The morning my yard went silent. Christmas had always been sacred to me. Ever since my husband died 3 years ago, decorating my front yard became my way of surviving December. Every light I hung felt like defiance. Every ornament whispered, "You're still here, Elena." So when I stepped outside that icy morning and saw emptiness, my chest cracked open. My reindeer were gone. The handmade wreath my late husband built gone. The gold and red lights that spelled JOY across my fence, ripped out like they never mattered. Snow covered the footprints, but not the violation. I stood there in my coat, breath fogging the air, feeling stripped. Not robbed, erased. Then I heard it. Laughter. Across the street, at number 14, my neighbor Marjorie Whitfield was adjusting my wreath on her door. She wore it proudly, like a trophy. When our eyes met, she froze. Just for a second. Then she smiled. "Oh, Elena," she called sweetly. "Aren't the holidays about sharing?" Sharing? My knees trembled. Not from the cold, but from the realization that this wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. And the worst part? Everyone on the block knew Marjorie. PTA president. Church volunteer. Untouchable. I went back inside, closed the door quietly, and decided I wouldn't confront her. Not yet. Because Christmas wasn't over. The woman everyone believed. By noon, my phone buzzed nonstop. Neighbors texted, "Did you move your decorations? Marjorie said you let her borrow them." Borrow. That word spread faster than the flu in December. By evening, Marjorie's house glowed like a Christmas movie set. My decorations layered perfectly, professionally, admired by strangers slowing their cars to take pictures. She'd turned my grief into her spotlight. I watched from my window, sipping cold coffee, studying her patterns. The way she staged. The way she curated perception. This wasn't about decorations. This was about control. Marjorie had moved into the neighborhood 6 months earlier from Naples, Florida, with a mysterious divorce story and a desperate need to be adored. She collected influence like ornaments, shiny, fragile, and fake. I checked my garage. The storage bins were still there, except the ones marked handmade. She hadn't taken everything. She took what mattered. That night, I opened my laptop and began documenting. Dates. Photos. Old videos of my yard from last Christmas. Receipts from craft fairs in Vermont and Pennsylvania. And then I remembered something. Marjorie loved attention. And attention, when redirected, can become exposure. As I uploaded my files into neat folders, my grief hardened into clarity. I wasn't going to ask for my decorations back. I was going to let her keep them. Long enough to hang herself with the truth. Borrowed lights, hidden cracks. 2 days later, Marjorie hosted a Christmas cocoa night. The entire block was invited. I went, not to confront her, but to observe. Her living room looked like a Hallmark set. My centerpiece sat proudly on her table, and my husband's carved wooden angel stood by her fireplace. I touched it gently when no one was looking. "I always admired your taste," she whispered behind me. "You don't mind, right?" I smiled back. Of course not. That confused her. People like Marjorie thrived on resistance. My calm unsettled her. As the night went on, I listened. Carefully. Her stories didn't match. Her timeline shifted. Her divorce story changed again. And then I saw it. A familiar label under one of the extension cords. My handwriting. I excused myself early, stepped into the cold, and opened my phone. That night, I created an anonymous neighborhood Instagram page. @Maplewood Holiday Truth. First post, innocent. A celebration of Christmas decor around the block. I tagged her house. She reposted it within minutes. Hooked. She had no idea she'd just stepped onto a stage she didn't control. When the internet starts watching, within 48 hours, the page exploded. People loved Christmas drama disguised as cheer. I posted side-by-side photos. Last year, my house. This year, hers. No accusations. No captions. Just timestamps. Comments started asking questions Marjorie couldn't delete fast enough. Did you move? Same angel. Different address? Wait, that wreath looks handmade. She texted me at midnight. Elena, people are being weird online. Can you comment and clear things up? I stared at the message, heart pounding. Clear things up? I typed back one sentence. Truth usually does that on its own. She didn't reply. The next morning, her decorations were still up. But the joy. It was flickering. The lie that slipped. On Christmas Eve, Marjorie went live. She stood in front of my decorations, voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. Let's remember, she said, Christmas is about generosity. Elena was kind enough to lend me these. That's when I posted the video. A recording from 3 years ago. My late husband laughing as he carved the angel, saying my name. The caption read, "Some things aren't borrowed. They're stolen." The live stream ended abruptly. And across Maplewood, lights began turning off. One by one. When apologies come with threats. Christmas morning arrived without snow, but the air was heavy. By 8 a.m., my phone was vibrating nonstop. Messages from neighbors. Screenshots. Voice notes. Even a call from the HOA president. Marjorie hadn't apologized. She'd panicked. At 9:12 a.m., there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find her standing there, mascara smudged, coat thrown over her pajamas like she'd lost the ability to plan. "You embarrass me," she hissed, her smile breaking. "You could have handled this privately." I stepped aside and let her in, not out of kindness, but curiosity. She paced my living room, eyes darting to the empty spaces where my decorations used to live. "You know how this looks," she said. "People online are accusing me of theft." I folded my arms. "Because you stole from me." Her face hardened. "You don't have proof," she snapped. "And if this keeps going, I'll sue you for defamation." There it was. Not guilt. Not remorse. Entitlement. I leaned closer. "Marjorie, I'm just posting memories." She stormed out 10 minutes later. That night, at Maplewood Holiday Truth gained 5,000 new followers. And someone sent me a message that changed everything. "I think your neighbor did this before. Different state. Same pattern. A trail that crossed state lines." I didn't sleep. The message came from a woman named Rachel Gomez in Scottsdale, Arizona. She sent photos. Different house. Different street. Same decorations. The same angel. My angel. Rachel's message was simple. She moved in next door. Became everyone's favorite. Then things started disappearing. I felt my stomach drop. Rachel explained how Marjorie, back then, using her maiden name, had borrowed decorations for a charity event. When Rachel asked for them back, Marjorie claimed they were donated. The police never acted. No proof. Just like now. Except this time, she'd chosen the wrong house. I asked Rachel for permission to share her story, anonymously. She replied instantly. Expose her. That night, I posted a carousel. Arizona, 2019. Florida, 2021. New Jersey, 2024. No accusations. Just patterns. The comments turned sharp. Why does she move so much? Why are the decorations identical? This feels calculated. Marjorie's page went private. Her lights stayed on, but now they felt desperate. Like makeup slapped on a bruise. And I knew something she didn't. Patterns scare people. The charity lie. 2 days after Christmas, Marjorie struck back. She announced that all the decorations would be auctioned for charity. Live streamed. Her justification? I wanted to surprise Elena by giving back in her name. My hands shook, not from fear, but rage. She was laundering her guilt through generosity. I didn't stop her. I encouraged it. I commented publicly. Can't wait to watch. My husband would have loved this. The stream attracted thousands. Midway through, Marjorie held up the wooden angel. This was handmade, she said. A gift. That's when I posted my final piece of evidence. A notarized document. A small-town feature from Burlington, Vermont, 3 years ago. Local craftsman builds angel for wife's Christmas display. My husband's name. My name. The angel. The chat exploded. Marjorie froze mid-sentence. For 5 full seconds, she forgot she was live. And in those seconds, America saw the truth. When silence screams louder. Marjorie didn't show up to the HOA meeting. Her lawyer sent an email instead. Cease and desist. I smiled when I read it. Because fear doesn't send letters. Damage control does. Neighbors stopped visiting her house. Cars stopped slowing down. Her lights went dark for the first time since December began. Meanwhile, donations poured into the charity anyway. But they weren't directed to Marjorie. They were directed to a foundation in my husband's name, one I quietly set up years ago and never publicized. People weren't just watching anymore. They were choosing sides. That night, Marjorie left me a voicemail. No threats this time. Just crying. I didn't think it would go this far, she sobbed. I just wanted to belong. I deleted the message. Belonging doesn't require theft. The calm before the final reckoning. On New Year's Eve, I returned home to find a box on my porch. Inside were my decorations. Every single one. Except the angel. Attached was a note. Please. Let's end this. I looked across the street. Her house was dark. For the first time, I felt something unexpected. Not triumph. Not revenge. Resolve. Because the angel wasn't missing. It was about to become the centerpiece of the final truth. And Marjorie had no idea what January was about to bring. The angel's shadow. I placed the wooden angel in my living room, right where the Christmas tree used to stand. Without the lights and noise, it felt heavier, like it carried everything my husband never got to finish saying. That morning, a detective from Essex County called. Not because of me. Because of patterns. Multiple reports. Multiple states. The same woman. Different names. Same behavior, embedding herself in communities, attaching herself to causes, then quietly claiming what wasn't hers. She's slippery, the detective said. But your documentation helped. I hung up and stared at the angel. Marjorie didn't steal things. She stole stories. That night, at Maplewood Holiday Truth posted something different. No photos.
No receipts.
Just a question. What happens when someone builds a life out of other people's memories? The comments were haunting. Survivors recognized her. Not by face, but by behavior. And somewhere in the darkness across the street, a woman realized she'd finally been seen. The women who remembered. The emails started pouring in. From Tampa, Florida. From Sedona, Arizona. From Savannah, Georgia. Different women. Same story. Marjorie arrived vulnerable, helpful, needed. She volunteered, organized, decorated. Then things disappeared. Not valuables, sentimental things. Handwritten letters. Family heirlooms. Custom decor. When confronted, she cried, claimed misunderstandings, played the victim, and then she vanished. I didn't post everything. I curated. Because chaos dilutes truth. Instead, I created a private group chat. 12 women. 12 versions of the same wound. For the first time, they weren't isolated. They were connected. One message stood out. She never wanted the objects. She wanted the life attached to them. I felt my chest tighten. That was it. Marjorie wasn't decorating houses. She was decorating herself. The house that was never hers. A realtor reached out anonymously. She recognized Marjorie from the posts. She doesn't own that house, the woman wrote. She's 6 months behind on rent. The image cracked further. The perfect home. The perfect hostess. All borrowed. I drove past number 14 slowly that evening. A foreclosure notice peeked through the doorframe. The house had been a stage. And now the curtain was falling. At home, I recorded a final video.
No anger. No accusations.
Just me, sitting beside the angel. My neighbor didn't steal decorations, I said calmly. She stole identity. And when you steal enough pieces of other people, eventually, nothing of you remains. The video went viral overnight. But something felt unfinished. Because exposure alone isn't justice. When she finally told the truth, she showed up at my door in the rain.
No makeup.
No performance. Just exhaustion. I don't know who I am, Marjorie whispered. I didn't invite her in. She confessed anyway. She'd grown up poor. Invisible. Watching other families celebrate traditions she never had. So she borrowed. Then she stole. Then she pretended. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, she said. I believed her. And still, I didn't forgive her. Because pain without accountability is just manipulation. I won't destroy you, I told her. But I won't protect you either. She nodded. For the first time, she understood the cost. The letter I never expected. A week later, I received a letter. Handwritten. From Marjorie. She turned herself in, not for theft, but for fraud. Multiple leases. Multiple false identities. She'd surrendered the angel to the detective. Inside the envelope was a check. Every dollar she had left. For the foundation, she wrote. In his name. I placed the letter beside the angel and cried. Not from victory, but release. Because the truth hadn't just exposed her. It had freed all of us. And still, the final reckoning hadn't arrived yet. When justice stops being loud. By February, the noise faded. No more trending posts. No more comment wars. The internet moved on like it always does. But real justice doesn't trend. It settles. Marjorie's case quietly moved through the system.
Fraud.
Misrepresentation. Identity inconsistencies across 3 states.
No headlines.
Just court dates and paperwork. I attended only one hearing, sitting in the back of the courtroom in Newark, New Jersey.
She didn't look at me.
She didn't need to. The judge spoke plainly. This isn't about objects, he said. It's about trust. I realized then that revenge had stopped being the point. Truth had done its work. I went home, brewed tea, and stared at the angel. For the first time since December, it felt light again. The neighborhood that learned something. Spring crept into Maplewood. Lawns greened. Windows opened. People spoke to me differently now, more carefully. Not out of fear, out of awareness. At the next HOA meeting, someone proposed a neighborhood archive, photos, stories, shared history. A way to preserve what mattered. It passed unanimously. Marjorie's house stayed empty.
No decorations. No lights. No performances.
Just a building that had lost its actress. That night, I posted one final update on at Maplewood Holiday Truth. Protect your memories. They are not replaceable. Then I logged out. Some stories don't need sequels. The angel finds a new home. In April, I received an invitation from a children's hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. They'd followed the story quietly. They wanted to display the angel in their holiday wing as a symbol of resilience and honesty. I hesitated. Then I remembered my husband's laugh. His hands carving wood, never rushing. He would have said yes. I drove the angel there myself. As I placed it in the lobby, a little boy tugged his mother's sleeve. It looks like it's watching over everyone, he said.
It was.
What became of her? Marjorie took a plea deal. No jail time. Mandatory counseling. Restitution. A permanent mark on every future application. She moved out of state again, but this time, without illusions. She sent one final message through her lawyer. I'm learning to build something that's mine. I didn't reply. Growth doesn't need witnesses. The quiet victory. That December, I decorated again. Not bigger. Not brighter. Just honest. A simple wreath. Warm lights. No performance. Neighbors stopped by, not to stare but to talk. To remember. As I turned off the lights on Christmas Eve, I felt something rare.
Peace.
Because revenge didn't win. Truth did. And the final chapter would make that undeniable. The invitation I almost ignored. In early December, a year after everything began, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside was an invitation to the Maplewood Holiday Walk, a new annual event inspired by what happened the year before. Neighbors would decorate modestly, share stories, and donate to causes tied to memory and loss. At the bottom of the page, a handwritten note, "In honor of your husband and the angel." I sat at my kitchen table, hands trembling. For the first time, the neighborhood wasn't celebrating spectacle. It was honoring truth. When Christmas returned gently. The night of the walk, snow finally came.
Soft.
Intentional. I stepped outside with a candle in my hand and joined my neighbors.
No blinding lights.
No competition. Just warmth. At the end of the street stood a small display. Photos of loved ones who had passed, handwritten notes, shared memories. And there it was. A replica of the angel. Not stolen. Recreated. Carved by a local craftsman using my husband's original design with permission. I cried openly. No one looked away. The house that taught us everything. We stopped in front of number 14. The house had been renovated. New owners. Fresh start. On the porch hung a simple sign. This home is built on honesty. No one mentioned Marjorie's name. She no longer needed to be the villain. The lesson was bigger than her. As we walked away, I realized something profound. She hadn't destroyed Christmas. She'd forced us to redefine it. The angel's true legacy. A week later, the hospital in Boston sent me photos. Children decorating around the angel. Nurses pausing beside it. Families touching it gently. Underneath was a plaque. Crafted in love. Shared in truth. My husband's name. The foundation had grown, funding grief counseling, art programs, community memory projects across multiple states. What Marjorie stole had multiplied. That was the irony she'd never escape. Decorating the truth. This Christmas, my yard looks different. There's no spectacle. Just one sign by the door. Truth lives here. People still slow down, but not to admire decorations. They stop to reflect. And sometimes they knock. I tell them the same thing every time. She didn't steal my decorations. She revealed their meaning. Because when someone takes what's sacred, you don't get even. You get honest. And that honesty, it shines brighter than any stolen light ever could. If you're watching this, remember, protect what matters. Share what heals. And never underestimate the power of quiet truth. Because the most beautiful decorations are the ones no one can steal. Thank you for listening to my story. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. Thank you.